Hi, I'm Jackie Tantillo, and this is Should Have Listened to My Mother. As we go through life, we get better at seeing people for who they are. They say opposites attract, but it's also true that people with similar personalities stick together. But what if you love someone, yet you know to keep specific boundaries? And what if, out of frustration and resentment, you're inspired to achieve their goal just because they were unable? My guest loves helping others achieve their objective when related to careers. She feels she's good at it because she knows what it feels like to be stuck in life or stuck at a job. She says she has an unusual relationship with her mother, different on the surface, but oddly similar at a subconscious level. We've all had experiences where our choices were triggered because of or in spite of someone. And here to share her story is career coach and counselor, Sophee Payne. Welcome to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Hi, Jackie. Thanks so much for having me on. I'm so happy to be here and talk with you.
Yeah, I can't wait. Every time I begin one of these shows, I get so inspired by the path that so many of us have been on, always unique and always different. Again, thank you for joining us. We're speaking via Zoom. You are now in Vancouver, Canada.
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver, Canada right now, and I'll be in New York next week.
Vancouver is one of my favorites, as well as Seattle, which is a nice short drive, but neither here nor there.
Right, yeah. It's also a great city in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. So as we usually get going on these episodes of Should Have Listened to My Mother, I ask my guest their mother's name.
My mother's name is Deborah.
And what did you call your mom when you were growing up?
I called her Mom.
And where does Deborah is still with us, I assume, on this planet with us. And where does she reside?
She lives in Florida, where I'm originally from, near Orlando.
And how often do you see one another?
We see each other about once a year. The pandemic lengthened that. I go home about every year to 2 years.
And is there a specific reason for that, the distance?
Well, I moved to Vancouver because I thought it was really beautiful and I wanted to try something new. But being away from my family didn't keep me in Florida. It didn't push me away, but it didn't keep me there. Like some people I know, it's really important. It's a priority in their life to be close to family. And I care for my family very deeply. I just don't feel that the space to the closeness to them is not a priority.
You can achieve your relationship regardless of where you are geographically.
Yeah, yes. And, there's a certain type of distance in our relationship too that is maybe reflected a bit in the physical distance, but the other distance was there before I moved.
Is this a mutual understanding between you and your mom? Or this is your way of saying this is what I need to lead a healthy life?
Yes, it's mutual. She doesn't seem to hold it against me. And she is very much, she's benevolent about it, and she's her personality is to be in her own world, which I can relate to a little bit. She's in her own world and she's happy there. And I come in and out of that world, and that's okay.
Wow, interesting. What was it like growing up? Do you have any siblings? Or what was your family life like? Or did you have a family life?
Yeah, so we had a family life. Parents are still together. And I have an older brother, so he's about 7 years older. So we were going through different things at different ages. Now the 7 years doesn't feel like such a huge amount of time, but back then it did. So our paths didn't cross too much. He was trying to be the most popular kid in high school when I was just trying to figure out myself in middle school. So we were on different paths.
What was your relationship? What was your relationship like with your mom when you were middle school age?
Middle school, I think that was a challenging time. And I hear that a lot from people. And now my friends that are moms and that my case was the same, where I had a lot of friction with my mom in that I wanted to do things my way and I thought my way was better. And it's interesting in retrospect, though, that I think there was more that we agreed on than I realized at the time.
Ah, were you one of you too stubborn to admit it, or what was it that caused that friction if you're both coming from the same place?
It may have been that we both wanted what we individually wanted, which was different, but the sentiment was the same, which was, I want what I want. Does that make sense?
Oh my God. So two stubborn, bullheaded women under the same roof.
Yeah, definitely.
When my boys were in middle school and my husband was in middle school, it was a rough go. Sixth through eighth grade. It was just tough, hormonally, emotionally, everything, physically. So
Yes.
I just hear stories of my friends now that have daughters, and it can be really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be. It's interesting now we're on the other side of it, right?
Well, we forget. It's like giving birth, you forget. And then you go and have another kid. You're like, what?
Yeah, we're probably made that way because if you remembered, you might not do it again.
If you could change anything from when you were back there as a teenager, what would you change?
So now that I am an adult, I have a much deeper appreciation and compassion for my mom, who has a similar brain that I do. And I wish at that time I had the capacity to see that as imperfect as she was, or I thought she was at the time. She was doing her best. She was absolutely doing her best. And that is something that I wish I just knew more and maybe gave her a little bit more space to do that. So I don't even have children. I'm 31, and being an adult is difficult. I can only imagine adding two children to the mix, having some other difficulties, and yeah, this fills me with compassion for her.
As adults, most of us feel that way. Had we been wiser, or if we could go back and change it, we'd be more compassionate and more understanding. Because we were, had a lot going on in our head and our heart, right? And a bit of selfishness and independence, and we had to prove ourselves and all that kind of stuff. Was there something that you did together with your mom that you bonded on? That you were both coming from the same place and enjoyed each other's company?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jackie. I think something that we really bonded over was when we could set aside the little things in our life that we didn't agree on. We really connected over this similar way that we think about ideas and concepts, and the way we think about human psychology. We're both really interested in what people think, why they think it. And we kind of get carried away with this kind of thing. And some of my work revolves around this too. A lot of my work involves, how do we have work that fulfills us? That can be kind of an esoteric question, but that was, I think, fueled by the conversations I had with my mom when we were having a good time. not when we were fighting.
Well, that's great that you can admit this and that you remember these philosophical conversations maybe or deeper conversations. That's pretty significant. Would you sit down to family dinners, or you and your parents at dinner every night and have discussions and conversations?
Yeah, it's funny. I was a big listener at the family dinner table, but sometimes one-on-one, I'd talk with my mom about about concepts and things that I still think about today, and then that I have dived more deeply into, and even developed a bit of an expertise around. So it's interesting talking to you about it, Jackie, because I don't know if I made the connection before, but it was really instrumental on my path.
Are you who you are today because of or in spite of your mother?
Both. Can I say both?
Sure. You can say whatever you want.
It's 100% both, or maybe it's 50% both.
Because it seems like she, even though there was frustration or resentment or anger or animosity, whatever it was she inspired you to become who you are today.
Yeah, that's definitely there. Yeah, it's interesting because it's sometimes she's kind of like a sun. I think of her like she's like a sun. Like even from a distance, you can feel this warmth. She gives direction. But at the same time, the closer you get, the more uncomfortably warm you get. And also the more you're kind of forced to revolve around her. So it's interesting to have this realization of there's so much to appreciate in her, and yet it feels unsafe to be too close. And I would like to appreciate her more, but it's difficult to do that.
So if you give a little or a lot, you get sucked in. And I don't mean to put words in your mouth as a bad way, but she kind of grabs onto you.
Yeah. She demands a lot from the people closest to her, which another thing, maybe I don't want to admit, I do that to people too. Let's be honest, yeah. If we're just being totally honest, might as well, right?
Well, sure. So what is it about her that she needs? Is it she needs the attention, the accolades, or company, or she's lonely, or?
I think for her, it comes down to support around doing things for her that helps free up her time so she can do the things that she wants to do. So she can be very demanding on your time and your energy that it takes to do the things she wants you to do, because she doesn't want to do those things, and she'd rather use that time and energy for the things that she enjoys.
So can you just give me an example, a specific example?
Yeah, like if this is a small example, but if there is a intricate fountain that she wants for the decor of her home, she doesn't want to clean it. She wants you to clean it so that she can do other things she enjoys more. So she wants to have something that may require maintenance, and this is a very like practical physical example, but there could also be emotional labor examples. But that's like a very tangible example.
Interesting. Is she mechanically inclined herself?
No, not mechanically inclined, but cleaning a fountain is not difficult. So there's just things that she doesn't want to do, and she will get you to do them for her, which is difficult when you have your own needs and maybe when you just want to do what you want to do.
Oh, absolutely. I totally understand that. Did she ever bribe you when you were younger? Whether teenage, so hey, let's go out to dinner, or we'll go get you a dress or something. If you.
Oh, 100%. It oscillated between threat and bribery.
Oh my gosh, that is hysterical.
The bribes I liked more.
Like an ice cream cone, or get your ears pierced, or
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I think that's how I got my ears pierced. I probably did something around the house.
Oh, wow. But she also attempted several businesses, or at least one business.
Yeah, so something that really shows up in my life now that I think is really interesting is that I have my own business. I'm only in the first year of my business, although I've been doing this work for a while. I've been full time for a year. And I didn't want to start a business for the longest time. I think in part because I saw her have a business. And her business never really got off the ground. In part, it was because she didn't want to do the things that she didn't want to do. There are parts of business that are wonderful, and you get to create your life around that. And Jackie, you probably can relate to some extent with the podcast you have. We all started business because we also envision a certain lifestyle, but it also demands sacrifices from us to some extent. And that's my diagnostic of why her business didn't really work out. But I was just left with this feeling that if I started a business, I was going to fail and that it was a bad idea. It was unsafe. And I didn't think I could do it with the skills that I had and the brain that I had. But then I did it. And I've been doing it.
And here you are talking
Yeah,
with me on Should Have Listened to My Mother. Very impressive.
exactly. Very weird. My mom told me that I should start a business and I brushed it off. She told me that when I was younger. And I tried my hardest to be a traditional employee, but it just never really felt right. And her and I are different in a lot of ways, and the ways in which we're similar is that we work well when we are self-directed, self-starters. And I think I learned lessons from my mom's business that makes me successful today.
So she was both encouraging you to do your own thing, but you also feel that it held you back for a number of years, seeing her track record.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Do you think she realized what you were going through, that the impact of her failed businesses had on you?
I don't think she did. I don't know if I would even want her to. I just want her I always wanted her to reach her dreams, but I always saw her fall a little short on that. And she even dreams to this day of doing certain things. She's a big dreamer. And it makes me a little sad because I don't know if those things will happen, but maybe that doesn't matter. Sometimes it's just nice to let yourself dream for a little bit.
Yeah, some people, they don't need to get that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Their whole process is just the dreaming part, right?
Yeah.
And then they move on to the next pot of gold and the next rainbow.
Exactly. Yes.
Now, you mentioned in our emails back and forth how you did hit a pretty severe low in your career.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Right. So in my own career, I kind of just thought that if I made straight A's and then did what I thought I was supposed to do, I could walk into the world and be happy. But I found that once I left college, once I graduated from my master's program, which I didn't even choose my master's program, and I basically was just told by my friend, hey, I think you'd be good at that. And then I did it for 2 years. So I wasn't really making my own decisions. I was just floating around, hoping that my dedication to my grades would somehow lead me when I graduated. And it didn't. And I continued to do the thing I thought I was supposed to do. And I think I know in my heart, I know that I knew what I really wanted to do, which is work with people one-on-one and be there for people, empower people, encourage people to do what they really want out of life. But it took me about 6 years to really accept that. When I was hitting rock bottom, when it came to job satisfaction, I hired a coach to help me understand what am I supposed to do. And I remember in the first session, I said, well, if I could do anything, I would do what you do, but I can't do that. And then she asked me, why not? And it's strange that it's such a simple interaction, but that totally changed my life because I started using really ridiculous excuses that actually weren't true. I could do it.
I have two questions for you. One, why did you doubt yourself so much? And two, what did you get your master's in that you didn't particularly like doing?
Yeah, the reason I doubted myself was that's a whole intersection of things. I think in part it could have been seeing my mother try at business and looking really hard and thinking that I couldn't go off and do my own thing. I'd have to follow a path. I don't think I trusted myself in carving out my own path. I saw my mom do that and it didn't really work out. So I think I wanted something more structured, but I wasn't finding happiness in the structure. So I really had to blow that out of the water and just do it. And then with my master's degree, it was in urban planning, which I enjoy. I have an interest in urban planning, but when it comes to the work, when it comes to sitting at the chair, actually doing the work, I don't like the tasks. My favorite part of the tasks were talking to people, interviewing people for community engagement. It wasn't most of the things I was doing on a daily basis.
Interesting. But you were able to, that interest has followed through to where you are today, the interaction with people, the clarity, the getting the specifics of what interests somebody, what they want, what they don't want. It all kind of paid forward.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I feel like I've been coaching for a large part of my adult life without really realizing it.
Your first name is spelled Sophee, Sophie, and your last name is Payne. And your website is SopheePayne.com. So if people want to find you, they can go to your website as a counselor and a coach for careers, and inspiration and clarity and direction.
Yeah, all good things to have, right?
All great things to have. And we all, at some point in our life, need to just, whether it's the one-on-one communication, which is, I think, what you are most interested in, we all sometimes need direction, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a little bit of help can go a long way.
So if you had, yes, I totally agree. I didn't mean to ignore what you said. I apologize. But all of a sudden I said, oh my gosh, if you could say something to your mom now, which clearly you can because she's still with us, but if you could say something to her that would help you, what would it be?
I could say something to her that would help me. That's interesting. Nothing comes up for me. I don't know if I really need something from her. Maybe what would help me is to practice showing her compassion with boundaries. I think in order to be truly compassionate, inevitably you need boundaries. So I really would love to, maybe after this call, Jackie, I'll give her a call and I'll just listen to her and practice compassion with her.
I think we all need to practice compassion. I think it should be in all of our lives because so often we're so quick to snap or jump or judge. So I love that you brought that up. What else can we tell my listeners about what you do and what you enjoy, how you enjoy helping others when it comes to finding a productive career, a happy career?
Yeah, because I had struggled with this so much in my early to midlife, I'm so passionate about just helping people know that there's people out there to help them, that you don't have to figure it out all on your own, all inside your own head. There's easier ways to get unstuck in your career. And there's really so much potential for growth in the pain that comes from feeling stuck in your career. And I say this because I was in so much pain when I was feeling stuck in my career, because I expected it to fulfill me. And it was such a release, and it was such a transformational experience to question that and to grow from that. If I hadn't had that pain, I wouldn't be where I am now. So in retrospect now, I'm so grateful for that. And I strive to support people who they want to move forward. They don't know how. They don't know if they want to go back to school. They don't know if they just need another job. They don't know if they need to change everything. They don't need to know what they want. All they need to do is be open to what's possible and ask for support.
Yeah, because a job does not define us wholly, correct?
Exactly.
It's a matter of just enjoying what you're doing.
Exactly. And yeah, our purpose can evolve too. It can evolve from this one thing to an entirely different thing. It's normal, and it's okay.
Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother. My guest is Sophee Payne, and you can find her website at sopheepayne.com. Again, it's spelled S as Sam, O-P-H-E-E, and her last name is spelled P as Peter, A-Y-N-E, sopheepayne.com. I really appreciate you joining me. And I also want to thank all of my listeners, because I would be nothing without my listeners. And especially want to give a big shout out to KPPQLP in Ventura, California, 104.1 FM, and stream it on my tuner app on capsmedia.org/radio. We will be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother. Thank you, Sophee.
Oh, thank you so much, Jackie. It was such a pleasure.